drive.
All right, welcome to the Sports Social Club hosted by Alex and Jess. I'm Alex.
I'm Jess.
And we're here to talk about what's going on in sports right now. So I think last week, shortly after our episode, it was either later that same day or maybe the next day, Josh Allen signed a huge contract with the Bills. I have it here. It's 6-year, $330 million, including $250 million guaranteed, which is the largest guarantee ever to an NFL player.
It's insane.
Absolutely insane. I can't even imagine. Like, after those 6 years, like, I don't know how old he is. He's younger than us, I'm pretty sure. But
he's like 2 years younger than us.
Okay, so like late 20s. And for me, I mean, obviously I'm not a star quarterback playing in the NFL, so he probably has a different opinion. But like, if it was me after this contract, I'd be like, see ya.
Mm-hmm.
I've made bank. I'm good to go. I mean, I'm sure he wants to win a Super Bowl, but just like $330 million over these next 6 years, 250 guaranteed. That's insane.
It's insane.
And he's been with the Bills ever since he's been drafted. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's insane. I mean, definitely want to win a Super Bowl, but I mean, it's like you said, after this contract, I would retire and save the rest of your body and your mind and go be a dad.
Yeah, because I mean, he's probably going to be somewhere around, like, I'm going to guess 34 or whatever after this season or after his contract ends. And yeah, quarterbacks can play longer than some of these other positions. You know, you got Tom Brady out there playing until he's like 40, 41, whatever. And especially the way that quarterbacks are getting protected now, with all these rule changes and whatever, realistically or like, theoretically or whatever, his body should hold up longer than that, assuming he doesn't, have any significant crazy injury, knock on wood. But if it was me, mid 30s, just came off a huge contract, making all this money, I'd be like, I'm done. I mean, he's got 6 years to figure out how to make a Super Bowl. I'm sure he could do it. So.
Oh yeah. Sure enough, they'll be able to do it. I thought it was just kind of crazy because it's like I felt like a team wasn't going to do something like that again with the guaranteed portion, like they did with Deshaun Watson, and so I'm kind of surprised. But I mean, Josh Allen's a better man, but also the injuries aren't as bad as Deshaun Watson has faced.
Have we ever seen Josh Allen do anything questionable as a person? No. Okay.
20 years comes out. Get ready. Local spas.
Oh my gosh.
No. But yeah, no, it is pretty crazy. It's definitely deserved though. I mean, for all that he's done, I mean, for the Bills, provide that much hope.
For sure.
I hope they win one.
Yeah, for sure. They deserve it, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Other big news in the NFL, we were talking about last week, what are the Seahawks doing? Getting rid of Geno, getting rid of DK, releasing Tyler Lockett. Well, apparently the Seahawks knew what they were doing. So they signed Sam Darnold. I don't remember how many years he got signed for, but Sam Darnold signed as their starting quarterback, and then 3 years, and then they also just signed Cooper Kupp to a 3-year deal. Huge pickup for the receivers. So excited to see kind of how this season turns out with this new switch up here. I think I saw a comment that was like, because everyone's like, oh, what are the Seahawks going into, like a rebuild or something like this? And they said, no, it's not a rebuild. It's just a whole roster switch.
Yeah, literally.
Just a little roster shuffle here. Not rebuilding. We're just getting rid of some people and bringing in some better ones.
And I'm so envious because like the morning that Cooper Kupp got signed, it was rumored he was coming to Dallas. And so I was getting so excited. I was like, oh my God, we could do this. But no, him going to Seahawks, they're so lucky. Oh my God. Like, and Sam Darnold's a fantastic quarterback.
Yeah.
So.
The only thing that I worry about with Cooper Kupp is I feel like he's regularly injured. I've had him on fantasy teams in the past, and I feel like, oh, I'm like always so excited. Like, yes, Cooper Kupp, big pick. He's going to get all these points. And when he plays, he does. But then he gets hurt, and then he's out for weeks. And I'm like, well, now he's not helping our team at all because he's injured. And I feel like, especially within the past couple years, like he's dealt with like some hamstring stuff, which sucks because it can be long lasting, it can be recurring. It's one of those things that just like lingers and can affect them for a while. And so I'm really hoping that he's healthy, stays healthy, doesn't have any significant injuries. It's like, you know, you'll get those crazy ones where it's like, oh, like ACL and injuries that happen from contact and stuff like that, like concussions and whatever. But I'm like, hamstring stuff, that's just because your hamstring couldn't handle what you were doing. So I need him to be in the weight room, putting in some work, making sure his hamstrings are strong so we don't have any more issues.
Yeah, hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully. But Sam Darnold, I mean, that was a great pickup, I think, as well. I mean, because I really thought they were going to try to keep him at the Vikings.
Yeah.
At least because I know they want to go with JJ McCarthy, but to have at least a great, solid veteran right there. But I mean, Seahawks got so lucky.
Yeah. Do you know who the Vikings backup is now? Because I'm assuming they're putting JJ McCarthy as the starter. At least that's what they're wanting.
Yes. Now, oh God, I don't know. The rumor was that Daniel Jones might sign there. The rumor then also has been Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that's right.
And then have JJ as the backup like after that.
I'm
so
sure
I don't
love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm trying to think if there were any other huge shufflings. I saw, what was it? Najee Harris went from Pittsburgh to the Rams. Somebody else.
Chargers, yeah.
Chargers. Somebody else left the Rams with Cooper Kupp. I'm trying to remember. I think it was somebody big. I'm blanking on it right now. But somebody else left there.
Mason got signed to Steelers again.
Yes, Mason Rudolph back with the Steelers.
Heck yes.
I'm assuming he's going to be their backup.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I think that was another place where they were thinking maybe Aaron Rodgers would go because Russ was going to be like a free agent or something along those lines where like there was a chance Russ wasn't going to be returning. And so they were saying that was a potential place where Aaron Rodgers would land, but we still haven't heard anything.
Yeah, no, it's the ball's in Aaron Rodgers' court, of course, every year.
Of course it is.
For some reason.
This man needs to retire.
He needs to go. He needs to go. The sad thing is he has no family to go back to. So it's like,
so he's like, what is he going to do? What's he going to do when he's done?
He's going to do that. He's going to go to some hippie camp and do ayahuasca.
And other than that, there's nothing super big standing out to me in terms of the NFL. Yeah. I'm sure there was some other stuff, but nothing that made a difference to me. Last night, big F1 race, first race of the season. I did not watch all of it. I fell asleep, even though it was on, in terms of America, I had the earliest time with a 9:00 start.
You had the best time.
It's a 9:00. You had one of the rookies crash on the initial formation lap, which is essentially like a warm-up lap. And that took another 10 minutes to get his car cleared off. Then they go again. They're like, okay, we're going. Okay, we got through the little warm-up lap. We're actually starting. And then we had 2 more people crash. Another rookie, and then Carlos Sainz. And I was like, this is endless. Are we going to get through this race at all? It seemed to get better because it was pretty wet. So that's why some of these guys were like slipping around and stuff. But
yeah,
like we were saying, can you figure out how to drive in the rain? Like you're a professional race car driver.
So bad. Like, come on, y'all. It's really not. And you have wets, you have inters. I mean, it's really not that hard. But like, no, it was sad. And then I even fell asleep for like 30 minutes, and Henry came and woke me up with like 20 more laps to go. And he had said that Norris and Piastri had even slid off, but Norris was able to like recatch himself, and Piastri like fell way down. So I mean, everyone was slipping inside, and it was bad.
Yeah,
bad for a first race.
But I'm sure the fans of F1 are excited to have racing back. I know there was a new season of Drive to Survive that came out, talking about the last season. So Cody and I were watching that a little bit the other day. So that's always a good show. If you've never watched, tune in, Drive to Survive.
Yep.
I love all those shows that like follow the sports and the athletes like super closely. Even as someone who has like worked in sports and athletics and stuff, it's still fun to see just like the inside look from like a player's perspective or something like that, especially when they do all the series like of all different sports. They got F1, golf, there's like we watched a surfing one time.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was on Apple TV, I think. And then they have it for track, they have it, I want to see it for all the sports.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so exciting. And F1 and golf are the main ones where there's always going to be drama. Like
Mm.
there's some kind of drama going on. It's like I don't know if because it's such an individualized sport where it's like
Yeah.
you end up with more drama, whereas like hard knocks and different ones, like you're not seeing as much caddy drama. So
Yeah, for
but it's
sure.
definitely it's fun to see an inside look.
Yeah, and it's also, I wonder, just because of like how we were saying, like it's an individual sport, and so there's so much more on the line in terms of like their earnings
Hmm.
when they're playing. So, a team sport like NFL, NBA, whatever, okay, yeah, you have like these random little bonuses here and there of being like, oh, we got to the playoffs, I got a little bonus. Oh, I scored this many points throughout the season, I got a bonus or whatever. But with these guys, it's like each individual competition is like their salary,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so I think there's just a lot more like at stake, because it is individual. There's a lot more, I would say, like emotion into it, especially like just like between people, because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I can't stand Aaron Rodgers on this team, but like whatever, like he's part of this whole team. He's not just one guy. But
Yeah.
when it's an individual sport, it's like, oh, Lewis Hamilton, like he specifically took me out these last two races or whatever, and like
Yeah.
made me lose and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's just like a lot more at stake when it's an
Hmm.
individual sport like that. So
No, definitely. Heck
yeah.
yeah. Definitely. But it's good to be back. So glad.
Where's the next race? Do you know?
China.
Oh, China. Is it next week or week
Yes.
after?
Next week.
Next
Yeah.
week.
So they only have a few days.
China. I wonder what time that will be broadcasted locally.
Oh God, I hope sometime early. I love like early Sunday morning races.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather be up at 6 than because I'm gonna be up at 6 already,
Right.
rather than have to stay up late or go like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Like we'll do it, but it
Let's
will
see.
suck.
I'm gonna look it up right now and see if it'll tell me. Hello. Okay. Looking. Okay. Here we go. It is on. Ugh, no, it's not a good time.
No, what time?
For us, it's Sunday at midnight. So I guess it would be Sunday at 2 a.m. for you.
I hate it.
That's not good.
I want to die.
That's not good. Yeah, it's all terrible times. Like if you wanted to watch qualifying, it's Saturday at midnight. The sprint is, you can watch the sprint because that's gonna be Friday at 10 for you. It'll be,
Wow.
yeah, Friday at 8 p.m. here.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, that's exhausting. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
I can't imagine their lives. I mean, they talk about it a little bit, like on Drive to Survive, but just how much their sleep gets messed up going from country to country
Yeah.
every week, just on all these different crazy time zones. Like, I remember we were watching an episode the other day. I can't remember where they were, but they were like waking up at 2 p.m. and being like, okay, I'm having breakfast now. And then, so then I can like balance myself on this time zone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I
It
can't even
sounds
imagine.
so awful. Yes, and I always wondered why didn't they? So they burn so much like jet fuel because they're flying around everywhere. But I always wondered why they didn't go from like why didn't they create the schedule to where it would be like, okay, you're starting in China and then you're going to go over to the next country and then keep going over that way. Go complete the time zones. And
Right,
then,
right. Just go from time zone to time.
make it
Don't go
easier.
like back and forth.
Yes, not just for travel and like for like for flying and everything, but then also for like for the regulation of their bodies.
Yeah.
That's just I can't imagine.
Yeah, because this last race they just had yesterday was in Australia, and so now they're going from Australia to China, and I don't know the time difference there, but it's, I'm sure, a few hours at least.
Yeah. Yep.
Other than that, basketball, college basketball.
Yes.
Today is Selection Sunday for both men's and women's tournaments. There is still a couple, at least of the men's conference finals today. I think Big Ten is today, SEC's today, American is today. Women, are they done or are they still playing?
They're still playing,
Still playing. They have a couple.
but they have like the Patriot League is playing right now, the final. Because I was watching that was Army Lehigh, and so they have a few of them going on right now. But majority of the women have finished. I think there's only like 4 games on today for the
nice,
finals.
Yeah. So some notable wins and losses. Oklahoma State, of course, lost first round Big 12 tournament. Big disappointment for them, obviously.
Terrible.
Women, they at least got farther in the Big 12 tournament. We talked about them last week. Still didn't win though. Fingers crossed they make the tournament. We'll see.
They will.
They will. Are you very confident?
Yeah, very confident. Yes, yes. I think that they're going to be like at least like a 5 seed.
Okay.
But they're going to make it.
Okay. Yeah. Women's selection show is, I think, 5 p.m. for me, like 7 p.m. for you tonight. Men is at 3 for me, 5 for you. So that should be good. But yeah, OSU lost, SMU lost, SMU men and women. I think women, I don't remember when women lost. It was early. And then SMU men lost quarterfinals to Clemson. It was a really close game though. So feel sorry for them. Yeah. Hopefully I think they're going to be like a bubble team. Like their record is pretty good, but they're not ranked. They didn't, even get into the semifinal. So I think they're going to be kind of like right on the edge. Like I think they only have like 9 losses.
Oh, okay.
9 or 10 losses, but because, they lost in the quarters, they're not ranked.
Yeah, that's hard.
There's only so many spots that can be filled.
Yep.
And then yesterday I was watching Creighton in the what is their league? Big East final. They lost. Disappointment for them. I'll try to keep up with them just because I worked with them my first semester when I was in grad school. So I always try to keep up. I'm like, oh, I know the coach. I know the athletic trainer. I was watching the game a little bit and I was like, that guy looks familiar. Like one of the staff. And he was a player when I was there, and now he's a grad assistant. And I was like, oh,
heck yeah.
So I try to keep up with them. They're usually pretty good. They ended up losing yesterday to St. John's, which St. John's, it was their first time winning their conference championship in 25 years. So, I mean, shout out to them.
They used to be so good.
Yeah, shout out to them, I guess. It was close for a while, and then St. John's just, took off, and I think they ended up winning by 15 or something close to that. So that was unfortunate for Creighton. Again, they have a good record too, but like SMU, not ranked. I think they have 9 or so losses. At least they got into the championship game, so they should be making the tournament. I don't know the last time that Creighton didn't make the tournament. So
yeah, that's always a basketball powerhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully.
And I showed you a TikTok the other day from another sports podcast, and it was these girls talking. They're like, yeah, every year we have to figure out, okay, where's Gonzaga from again? Spokane, Washington. That's where they're from. When you live in Washington, you don't forget that. And then they're like, yeah, and Creighton. And then they're talking, they're like, yeah, where's Creighton? They're like, Rhode Island? Yeah, Rhode Island. Everybody knows that. And then the guy actually running the podcast, the sound or whatever, he's like, Nebraska. And they're like, Nebraska? What? Yes, Nebraska.
And I always thought it was Maine.
No, not Maine. But it is kind of funny, for some reason, I don't know why, but especially when it's not a Power 5 team, or I guess Power 4 now, when it's those big basketball powerhouses, I just assume they're all East Coast schools. Mm-hmm. I don't know what if there's just because there is a ton of East Coast schools that are good at basketball, so I just assume everybody's from there. But especially during March Madness, you figure out, you're like, oh, this school's good. Where are they from? Oh, some random place in Montana. Okay. But yeah, so that's always fun to see kind of, not necessarily those teams we just mentioned, but I love seeing the teams, your more your Cinderella story, your nobody teams where it's oh, it's their first time making the tournament and they're so excited. And then, maybe they end up winning their first game and it's okay, what can these guys do? It's always really cool to see those teams.
There's that one school, was it New York? It was that New York school or whatever that didn't even have a gym. They had to go off campus to something else.
Was it St. Peter's?
Yes.
Yeah, from New Jersey.
Yes. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. I had a guy on my baseball team at my high school last year. He went and played baseball at St. Peter's.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so random. From Washington all the way to New Jersey.
All the way over there.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of crazy. I think they're the Peacocks, is their mascot? Yeah, pretty fun. But yeah, love seeing those teams that don't really get a chance to do too much. And I was talking with one of my coaches the other day, with basketball, not with basketball, with football, yeah, they expanded the tournament, the NCAA tournament to like 12 teams this year or whatever it is. But football is one of those sports where so much of their success is dependent on money. Whether
Yep.
that's like money for NIL, but just resources, affording their coaches, just everything that goes into a football team. So you're not seeing these amazing football powerhouses who have no money, you know?
Yep.
But in basketball, I feel like the playing field is a little bit more level. Like you can have those teams that have like really big success without being at some crazy school that has a ton of money. So I think that's always fun to see where it's, more schools have a chance of doing something in basketball, especially when the bracket is 64 teams. There's a lot more opportunities.
It definitely makes it a lot more exciting to watch. That's for sure. Because even if like I don't know, even if let's say your team Oklahoma State never makes it, then you can go root for one of these little baby teams every year. You can pick a new one. But like you said, like football, even if they were to extend it out so far, like as far as the playoffs go, you really couldn't, because I mean, there's just no way, like you said, with the funding for facilities, for recruitment, for all of it. It's just, it could never happen. So
no, you're never gonna see like some random, like, I don't know, Idaho Western State University going and becoming a Division I national championship. Like, it's not gonna happen. But you never know what can happen in March Madness. As they say, it's March Madness.
True.
Are there any teams, I mean, obviously the bracket has not been announced yet, but are there any teams that you are thinking are going to win? Any teams that you're just like excited to see? Anybody like that?
Well, honestly, I've just been excited watching, and I know this is weird, but the SEC basketball teams have been so exciting to watch. I don't know why. Like, usually I love Big 12 always, but definitely they've been so fun to watch. And then, I mean, I've been watching I watched yesterday the SWAC championship with Alabama State. I've been watching everyone. So I'm just excited. Once the bracket's released, I'll definitely have to go through more. But yeah, it's just kind of all over.
Yeah. Are you going to make a bracket?
Yeah, oh, heck yeah. I make
what is your, I was about to say, what is your thoughts slash opinions on making multiple brackets?
I love it. I love it. I think you make one right off the bat, like your initial, like just impulse decision bracket. Then you make one that you really care about, you study, you decide for. And then you make one that is like the Cinderella bracket. I think you should make one of like what's an opposites bracket, just to see if, okay, all these decisions from the real one that you studied, if like all the crazy things happen, what would that look like? But yeah, so I just kind of pick all over. Henry does like a mascots where he likes to go through and he decides his bracket based on the mascots.
That's valid.
Which he likes the most. Yep. So
usually really I'll do like one that's like my bracket. Like, this is what I think will happen. Yeah. And then I might do one or two where it's like, this is what I want to happen. Yeah. Like, this is what would happen. Like, if Creighton won, this is what the bracket would look like, or something like that. But for the most part, I try to only stick with like one, because then I'm like, this is my bracket. And then, but Cody's over here, kind of like you, where he's like, I'm going to make a bunch of different brackets. I'm like, well, then which one is your real bracket? Like, which one do you believe in? Like, you know?
You got to believe in all.
I wonder, I don't even know what I was going to say. I was going to say something about the brackets, but I don't know anymore. What else did we have to talk about?
Hockey.
Oh, yes, hockey. Alexander Ovechkin is now 8 goals away from breaking the all-time scoring record set by Wayne Gretzky. Huge. It's going to be absolutely insane if he breaks that, which I'm sure he will. But when is it going to happen? 8 goals away. Pretty close.
Yeah. So. Which is crazy, because going into the season, I really think, like, I mean, everyone's mindset is that it's going to take 2 seasons, just because of how he's been over the past few years, like with the injuries and everything. I mean, he's 39, like your stamina is kind of running out. And so for that, I mean, I'm shocked that he got to it this quickly, like this season. I really thought he was going to have to prolong and go more. So
and since the Caps are doing really well, like they'll go into the playoffs, so that's going to extend his time even more. I wonder, I mean, at this rate, he could break it before playoffs, assuming he continues to score well.
Yeah.
Um, but even if he doesn't, then he will have playoffs to continue that opportunity.
I kind of hope it. I kind of hope it doesn't happen until playoffs because, like, remember when Aaron Judge like broke the home run record or whatever, and they kept popping in like and showing, but
Yes.
their games were always on like national TV, and so I really hope it's like playoffs where the game's going to be on national TV and everything instead of like an ESPN Plus and you have to like just like get a live look in. Like I want it to be a big deal enough,
Yeah.
you know.
That was so annoying though with the Aaron Judge live look in.
Having
Like,
to
is he gonna
suffer
break it?
through
I'm like,
that.
I don't
That
care.
shit was terrible. Literally watching football, and they're like, baseball.
I'm
I
like,
couldn't
no.
give two shits about this guy. But yeah, if you can tell, we are huge baseball fans.
Yeah, big baseball fans.
I watch baseball only in July.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only care about college baseball.
Yeah. Yep.
And really only Oklahoma State because they tend to do well.
Yep. Exactly.
And then also in the NHL today, in just a couple hours, we have the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche playing each other, which is a huge game because it is Mikko's return to playing against Colorado. He didn't come directly from there. We talked about in our last episode, he went from Colorado to Carolina, was in Carolina for 6 weeks, and then was traded to the Stars for an 8-year deal. And so this is going to be huge for the Stars and the Avs to be meeting again. I also saw something because this game is on like national television channel, like TNT and something else. I don't know. They're doing some sort of new like graphics during the game that's supposed to like help get better like viewer engagement, like easier for them to follow along or something like that. So, which to me, I mean, I've been watching hockey for a long time. It's not difficult for me to watch hockey and understand what's going on. So I'm interested to see what they do on the screen. I'll see if I can pull up what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly
Every time
what it
they
said.
do something like this, it always makes it so bad. Like it always makes it so hard to follow for people that have watched it like most of their lives. It's not fun because I remember when they had like the puck tracker for a while.
Oh,
and that was awful. They had the people track, like the player tracker would show their names, and I'm like, just don't don't do it.
Okay, it says Sunday's game will be the first Stars game this season to include, quote, real-time animations. It says these changes are intended to make it easier for young/international fans to enjoy. I don't know.
Oh God, no. No, this is going to be so bad.
It's on TNT, True TV Max, and Sky Mexico.
Oh, good. Hola.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we'll see what goes on with that. The game's in 2 hours, so I'll be watching. I don't know how I'll feel about these animations. I wonder if there'll be another channel I can watch without the animations.
We'll definitely be texting about this.
Yes, for sure. I'm like, this is freaking terrible. Talk about it again in next week's episode. Be like, yeah, so that was the worst. Hope they never do that again. It's like there's certain things, that they'll change, not just with hockey, with sports in general, that they'll change on like the TV broadcasting. And it's like, who approved this? Who thought that this was a good idea? Like, what was it? Like the score box during the Super Bowl looked terrible.
Oh God, the UI is so bad. Yeah, it was so bad. Literally. I never used to pay attention to this stuff, but until I started dating Henry, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you got to look at that. Look how awful this is, and look how this." And now when I see things like that, I'm like, "Who wanted this? Did they do a poll? Like, it's so bad."
Maybe they should have done a poll.
I bet they're trying this out to see how it does because they might use it for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, I'm interested. Like, I don't know why they chose this game.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird.
Kind of weird. Unrelated to that, but just TV in general. I started this new show on Netflix called Running Point. Have you seen it?
Oh, no. Oh, with Kate Hudson?
Yeah, Kate Hudson.
No.
Where her family, like, I think it's essentially like an NBA team, like owns
the Lakers,
the NBA team. Yeah. And her brother, who's like really in charge, her oldest brother, ends up going into rehab, and he's like, I want you to be in charge. And she's like, okay. And I'm only like 2 episodes in, but it's been pretty entertaining because it's just seeing like a woman as like the president or whatever she is of the team, and just seeing kind of the interactions with other people and what they expect and what they don't expect from her. And
Yeah.
it's like funny, but also like just entertaining in terms of like sports and stuff. So highly recommend, check
Yeah.
it out.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I've been wanting to watch it.
Yeah, like in one of the episodes, like it starts off, this is not going to be like a big spoiler or anything, but like one of the, because it's like her and two other, I think they're both her other brothers, are, you know, all managing it or whatever, but she's really the one in charge. And they're like, yeah, so like we got this trade, we're getting rid of this guy, bringing in this. And she's like, why? She's like, couldn't we just bring this person up from the G League, do this, whatever? And they're like, no, we're not doing that. And she's like, maybe we should do that. And so basically it's like this whole big thing of like them, the two other brothers and like some other people on the board being like, no, we want this trade to go through. And then she ends up talking with like the highest person, and he he also didn't want this trade to happen. And so then she's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and like shuts down the trade and ends up making these moves and like stepping in and like taking over and like actually trying to like assert herself. And then another part where basically the two brothers are like, we're gonna get the board to essentially say that him appointing you in charge was wrong, and we're just gonna like overrule it and vote you out. And she like walks in and is like, actually, I just got us a whole brand new sponsor. And they get Sephora to sponsor the team. And because she like pitched it as like, I'm the first like woman owner, she's like, this is a whole new market, blah blah blah. Like no, like Sephora has never been part of a like essentially NBA pro basketball like league, all this kind of stuff. And so they got like this huge deal with Sephora to sponsor the team. And then the board was like, yeah, we're not voting out. You're gonna yeah, so
yeah.
it's pretty good. Check it out. I like
Heck
it.
yeah.
Have to keep watching it. So
Heck yeah.
yeah.
I'm all about it.
You got anything else in
No.
sports? Sports adjacent? Anything?
No, not today. Not today. No, just gearing up. Excited for Selection Sunday. So we'll see how today goes.
Yep, should be good. Next week we can talk more about, what happened with the brackets, who we have as looking like our picks to win it all. By the time we have our next episode, there will already have been a
Some
decent amount
games.
of games that have already played. So we can talk about, if there's any big upsets, which I hope there are. I love a big
Heck yeah.
upset, especially at the beginning.
Yes.
When you get those huge, like 1 in 16 matchups, the 2 in 15s. I feel like you don't get a lot of 1-16 upsets, but there's always like a 2-15,
Yeah.
3-14,
Heck
something like
yeah.
that. Those are always
I
fun.
think there's only ever been like 2 1 in 16 upsets.
Yeah.
I want to say like it's been something so small, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
pretty
excited.
rare.
I hope we get some good ones.
Yeah, right, for sure. All right. Other than that, I think we're just going to be watching sports the rest of the day, rest of the
Heck
week.
yeah.
Keep y'all updated with what's going on. So until next time, I'm Alex.
I'm Jess.
And this was the Sports Social Club. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.